Scott Walker is announcing on Monday he'll spend several days later in the week in Iowa. On the Republican side, I think you and I agree, and most other people, that Walker's clearly the favorite in the caucuses. Right now, based on polling, based on talking to folks, who else on the Republican side looks strong so far in building in Iowa?
Well, Rubio is making kind of a late start here in Iowa, but he's attracting some interesting crowds. People are definitely intrigued by him. Jeb Bush comes again early next week. So those two are strong here. You know, we're waiting for Rand Paul to come back. He's kind of faded a little bit. But, you know, I would say right now you talk to the people in the Des Moines area, and it's Rubio and Jeb Bush who are on people's minds.
Let me ask you about Rand Paul. Why has he been relatively absent from the state, and how do his supporters feel about that?
I'm not sure exactly why he's been absent, but it's been interesting. I'm hearing some bubbling up of comments that Bernie Sanders has taken a bit of shine off of Rand Paul. You've got some of those, you know, middle-of-the-road libertarians who are actually giving a look to the Vermont U.S. Senator, since he has some of the same, you know, they come from the same place on some of those national security issues and privacy issues and things like that. And so it could be the case that Sanders is peeling a little bit of support out of the middle from Rand Paul. But people are waiting for him to come back. There's still interest for him in Iowa. He still is at the top of the polling here.
Hey, Jennifer, Chris Christie, he's up with TV time in New Hampshire. I want to play a quick snippet of that for you right now.
Leadership matters. It matters for our country, and American leadership matters for the world. But if we're going to lead, we have to stop worrying about being loved and start caring about being respected again. I am not looking to be the most popular guy who looks in your eyes every day and tries to figure out what you want to hear, say it, and then turn around and do something else. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean, and that's what America needs right now. I'm Chris Christie, and I approve this message.
Now, that spot is only for the New Hampshire market. You have John Kasich, who's also going very big in the New Hampshire market. When you talk to people in Iowa, are they offended that they're being kind of ignored here? And could these two even play if they wanted to try in Iowa?
They could. Chris Christie has high negatives here, as you guys know from our polling. But yes, they're still open to Christie. Christie tested that message that he has in that campaign ad in Iowa, and to the audiences that he gave that message to, they just loved it. If you talk to him afterwards, they all said fantastic. It was really strong. Even the people who are the furthest right in the party told me that they loved his message when he said those things in Iowa. But then they would have a caveat after that saying, but we don't think he could make it here. And it sounds like some of his team doesn't think he is necessarily all that strong here. But yeah, there are people who are open to him. It's interesting he's coming full circle. Chris Christie entertained some guests from Iowa in 2011. They were trying to prompt him into the race. Leading that contingent was a Republican named Bruce Rastetter. Rastetter has a big summer fundraiser every summer, and Christie has RSVP'd for that. So Rastetter flew out to try to get him into the race. Now Christie is coming to Rastetter's home. So a little bit full circle there. It's interesting. Christie's coming back to the people who pleaded for him to get into the race, saying, you know, remember how much you wanted me, now I'm here.
And Jennifer, just in brief, is any interest in Kasich that you're picking up, even though he's clearly focusing more on New Hampshire than in Iowa?
I'm not hearing very much about Kasich at all. People still are just not very familiar with him. There's some curiosity, especially from some of the middle-of-the-road Republicans here. People have a little question mark in their mind about him. They're willing to keep a placeholder for him just in case he comes in place here. But I don't get emails and phone calls and tweets saying, you know, tell me about Kasich. It doesn't happen.
So you win Iowa by my favorite adage, organize, 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 and get hot at the end. I continue to be stunned. You think about organization. Email addresses, county precinct chairs, time on the ground, trying to get to all 99 counties, etc. Is anybody at this point organizing, and if so, who?
Hillary Clinton, for sure. She's got the lead on everybody. You know, Sanders is really bulking up right now. I'm surprised at how many offices. He's got like 7 offices already in Iowa, and he's hiring a pretty big staff. So the Democrats really seem to be organized. Martin O'Malley from Maryland also is organizing pretty well, has a good team here. On the GOP side, you know, right now if Scott Walker doesn't win Iowa right now, it would be a big blow. And, you know, his strategists even admit, you know, we're betting the farm on Iowa. So I think as soon as he announces, we'll see a lot of ramping up here, a lot of precinct organizing. But beyond that, it's really hard to tell on the GOP side who has any strength. It doesn't seem like anybody is doing as much as, at least as Hillary Clinton's doing.
Totally crazy. Phil?
Jennifer, a number of Republican candidates were at the National Right to Life conference today in New Orleans. I want to give you a quick taste of what you said. I'm sure you recognize a lot of it, but here's a little snippet of that.
Every single person alive today was once a grainy ultrasound picture.
No candidate has done more to protect life for the unborn than I have. That's a fact.
The baby killers, that's what they do. They manipulate you into thinking that this is not a human being.
When did it become the law of the land that the Supreme Court has the final say on anything? They do not have the final say on anything. The American people have the final say on everything.
Are you starting to hear, Jennifer, candidates sound more like this in Iowa, and how does that actually play in general?
Yeah, they've been sounding like that in Iowa for a while. And interestingly, you know, there have started to be some questions about Scott Walker and where he's at. He's been targeted by the Democrats for, you know, being all over the board on his abortion position, saying one thing when he faces a tight election in blue state Wisconsin and saying another thing now. I am hearing some, you know, some rumblings of concern here from Iowans saying, you know, where exactly is he? He's shifting positions. It's not that they doubt that he is against abortion, but they're just wondering, does he say something to please the audience that he's speaking to? But yeah, I mean, abortion is a key message here. You have to have a certain stance on abortion in order to do well in the Iowa caucuses.